Alrighty, a noob's guide to driving turretless TDs. If you look on my channel, there's very few games in turretless TDs. The reason for that is I'm not very good in them. I pretty much suck, and recently I've been playing them because about the only things I've got left to play to finish the tech trees off. So let's start with somewhere you never want to be in a turretless TD. So to show you what the hell not to do. I've come up here to clear Ascent 7 and 1. Our Leo came with us and unfortunately buggered off, leaving me with a T62A. And this is hell for a turretless TD. This is just the shittiest, most crappiest thing that can happen to one, because once this happens with a T62A, you are in all sorts of shit, basically. That is where you do not want to be in one of these things. And the reason for that is it has no turret. So some kid finds you on the back of a map camping, or you overextend in one of these tanks, a T62A, a T54, anything like that, finds you, you are most likely toast unless some kind teammate comes and saves your ass. And yeah, right, you get me? Where I said some kind teammate comes and saves your ass, therein lies the problem. Because boys and girls, they don't. They just go, nah, fuck that kid over there, let him die in a ditch. And you know, that's turretless TDs for you. So I'll try and give you a little bit of a do and don't, you know, about trying to play them. I'm not pretending to be an expert by any means. My high tier turretless TDs are somewhere between 48 and 55%. And all other sort of grades of tank, I would say I'm usually between 55 and about 68. You know what I mean? That shows you the difference. So first bit of advice is, well, in fact, most of the advice is about map awareness and map positioning. So in this game, yeah, granted I haven't moved far off spawn, but it's a supremacy game. So I've gone to look at B to start with. And that Pantera, I feel a bit bad for him because he's sort of putting the sort of crazy shit I like to play and do. So, you know, he got unlucky there, and I had B covered, and he got jizzed on in a big way. So that's point one. So map positioning. The second thing is, unfortunately for you, you have to at all times know where your team is, because if they bugger off and leave you, generally speaking, look at the ball stick, by the way, that is where not to put any kind of TD, turreted, non-turreted, just nah. But you need to know where your team are, and you really don't want them to bugger off and leave you, but on occasion they will. And if they do that, really where you want to be is in some hard cover. And if you're playing the Arg Panzer thing, which I'm playing here, the tier 9, yeah, I've actually got some armour to work with. So yeah, find some hard cover, and the advantage of that is if something does come for you, at least scrape your butt up against a building or a rock or a red line and make it hard for them to get round you. But don't, you know, in this circumstance, do not YOLO forward. You've got to be a little bit patient with these tanks, because they are high in reward in terms of damage, but they will come apart incredibly quickly the moment some smart ass kiddie gets around the side of you and just starts shooting you in the butt and driving around you. Now, fortunately for turretless TDs, there you go, a bit of HE in the IS3 there, sometimes offends, doesn't it? Fortunately for turretless TDs, the dearth of decent light and medium tank gameplay in Blitz 2021 at the moment has really helped them in a strange kind of way. I've got YOLO'd far less than when I first started playing these things back in 2014. I mean, good players used to go around the map, find you, and just fucking do you in. And that seems to be happening less. On the flip side of it, what seems to be happening more is that teams are YOLOing forwards a lot. So you may want to camp your TD at the back if you like, but you find very quickly that the battlers disappeared off around the map and there's some sort of attritional slogfest going off on C, and you're parked on A in the fucking corner not shooting anything, at which point, you know, you need to get involved. You need to bugger off. Or if you look at the tank lineup and it's mainly heavy, push with the heavies. So there's no right or wrong in the current meta of Blitz 2021 as to how to play these things. But what I will tell you is you've got to watch your sides and back at all times, and you've got to look at where your team are. And in this game, that's kind of what I've done. And actually, I've pretty much held a line or a flank, whilst the team have sat up there on C and farmed the fuck out of the red guys. So that's kind of a bit of a result. So that is exactly, you know, what you can do in one of these things. You know, the Jagdtiger is an amazing tank if it's in the right place at the right time and you can get your damage out. Second game I'm going to show you is the WZ111111111111G fake tank FT Chinese thing, and this has, and the reason I like it is it has a similar playstyle to the tank I just played. And as you know, turretless TDs and TDs come in all different shapes and sizes. I would recommend, if you can, to play the ones which are, you know, quite strong in terms of armor profile. So anything with a pretty hard top plate. So if you're learning to play turretless TDs, definitely take something like a Hetzer at tier 4, and then I would go, what would I go, turretless TDs? I'd go Hetzer, Defo, tier 5, something like an SU-85. They're really good tanks to practice with because the top plates on them are pretty alright. And then when you start hitting 8 and 9, you've got the general idea as to how to play these things, which is not necessarily, you know, in a bush, but what I'm saying is to keep the lower glasses hidden and just show them the top plate of the tank, which, you know, is designed to be rock hard. Yeah, right enough people will go through you with Pramo, but if you wiggle, you know, you're giving them a difficult armor profile. And in this game, this game's no different. So in terms of map positioning, I've had to be extremely aware of where my team is. So I started off looking across the bridge, which is like classic, you know, down onto the enemy heavies, trying to get some shots there. But the moment you saw that the red team push left, I've immediately reacted to that, and you can see I'm still worried about my right-hand flank, but at the moment I see the Lerva pop down here, I know in a strange way that I've got a bigger problem behind me, and therein lies the clue, boys and girls. You don't want to get flanked or have a problem behind you in this tank, because you're going to get absolutely screwed. The moment one of these buggers pushes me, I'm going to be screwed. So what I need to do is sort of sit here, give them my top plate, wiggle, and try and dissuade them from coming at me. At the same time, I need to keep one eye on my right-hand side, because I know that ML1's out there, and you know, if he sees the side of my tank, he can pretty much, he can clip me out. And I'm praying to God that someone will come and actually fucking help me with this Lerva, because Jesus, I've taken some abuse trying to hold this side on the map. But eventually our Lerva turns up, and thank you very much, buddy. That is very, very helpful, because you've, you know, done me a service there. So we've held that flank, and now I'm concerned about the ML1. Yep, and rightly so, if you can see the shots coming in, and this SU which is pushed here, which is just a bit silly, to be honest, but okay, he's gone. And now we're in a reasonable position if my arse wasn't getting pushed by a Lerva. So you can see how this tank can be effective in a hold down situation, you know, using the top of the armour, it would be the same in the Jagdtiger, and basically being very aware of what's to the side and back of me. You can see with the WZ11111111GFT, it's fairly mobile, but it's not really a YOLO forward tank. You can see when I need to move, it will move. And I'm going to try and get round the side of the ML1, just to give him some love, best I can. And then obviously the Lerva over there. And we're going to be apples in this game. The team's not really done very much. I mean, all credit to Lerva, but, you know, as my friend Commander Smith is fond of saying, at least they turned up. And to be fair, they all turned up and they all did their best to us, so who's to argue with that? And now we've just got the Lerva left. So turretless TDs are tricky little buggers to play, and they are definitely my sort of least favourite thing in the game. I think that's borne out by win rate and general aptitude to play them. They are, for a good reason, the final sort of thing that I've got to in the game, to, you know, finally grind out. They can be effective, I think. In summary, the trouble is they really do require careful positioning and thought. You know, like in sort of football with an old defender, you know, the first 9 yards are in your head, and the rest of it is, you know, down to a little bit of skillage. But it's really all about the map positioning, the map awareness. And go back and watch the Yarg Tiger at the beginning of this video, and, you know, remind yourself that you really don't want to be in that position, and you should be fine. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the games, and I'll see you. Bye.